The doll. I got a call from my cousin who said that he, his brother, his dad, and his best friend were using a Ouija board in their basement. Prior to starting, they took a large porcelain doll out of the room because it was creepy and placed in an adjacent room face down on a pile of towels. My cousin took a short break because the board was just spouting nonsense and he went to the bathroom. His dad, brother, and friend started asking the board questions without him. One of the questions was, "Who is in the other room?" It just started spouting out random numbers. So when my cousin came back into the room, they said it wasn't working, so they put it away. After a while, he began to be suspicious and asked what numbers did it spout out. They told him, and it ended up being his social security number. So they took it back out and started asking it random questions. It told my cousin he would die in the Air Force. At this point, they tell the entity they are communicating with it to prove itself. It then spelled out the word doll. This freaked them out. They decided to open the door to check on the porcelain doll they had laid in the other room. When they opened the door, the doll was standing upright in front of the door, just staring at them. Everyone freaked out and ran out of the house. His best friend decided to burn the Ouija board. It seemed like everything went back to normal, but a few months later, his cousin decided out of nowhere to join the Air Force. The creepy thing was, on his birthday, he died. Number 2. Max. When I was about 14, my best friend had a sleepover birthday party. Being the silly little kids that we were, we decided to make a Ouija board to use, not really knowing any of the rules. After an hour or so, I wandered off to read some tarot cards and watch the rest of The Exorcist with the other kids that were over. Here's where it got weird. After I left, the spirit talking to my friends changed, as in it switched to a different spirit altogether. His name was Max, and he was looking for me. I've never known a Max in my life. My friends yelled out what he was saying as it moved, but I was writing it off as they were just teasing me, until he started giving them information about me that no one at the party knew. Things about minor abuse I was facing at the time and other little things. That freaked me out. I begged for them to stop playing, even after Max tried to convince me that he was not trying to hurt me. My friends were awesome and stopped playing before I started crying, and I thought that was the end of it. But I was wrong. The next time one of my friends brought up the Ouija board was about a year later. A friend asked me if I wanted to go and hang out with them and play with the Ouija board, but I acted like I was busy. The next day at school, one of my friends who was not at the party the first time said, "Who's Max?" I freaked out and asked why she asked about Max. She said, "Never mind," and walked away. Later I found out that the board spelled the name Max, followed by my name. One of the girls from the original party was there and told everybody what happened the first time. This is something that I still can't explain. I just hope it's not a curse. Number 3. June 24th. My girlfriend told me this story about an experience she had with a Ouija board while in high school, sometime in 1986. She had a friend named Johnny who was suffering from some sort of debilitating illness who had recently been hospitalized as a result. Both she and her friend Shelly visited Johnny regularly in the hopes of keeping his spirits up and for a quick recovery. One night after visiting Johnny, they were at Shelly's when they decided to try out a Ouija board. After a while, they started communicating with a spirit who seemed to know a lot about them that it really shouldn't have. After some banal questions about boys and general questions one would expect teenage girls to ask, my girlfriend decided to ask about Johnny and his condition. The board quickly spelled out 24 June 1987, Johnny won't have to worry anymore, and went to goodbye. My girlfriend and Shelley were so convinced that the board was giving them a date for recovery that they actually wrote the message down and sealed it in an envelope. The following year, on June 24th, it turned out that Johnny indeed no longer needed to worry about his condition. He died. Number 4. Secret. One summer, 3 middle school boys discovered a Ouija board in a trash bin outside a local apartment building. Tom, the oldest, was terribly cruel to the younger boy Josh. He would often punch Josh jokingly in the arm, but so hard that it would bruise. Other times he would call Josh stupid or a retard. The third boy, Chris, would avoid the abuse by remaining silent. Secretly, Chris and Josh disliked Tom's behavior, but they tolerated it because they had no other friends. That summer, the 3 boys took the discovered Ouija board to Tom's house, where he was alone most of the time. His father was always working, and his mom had passed away years earlier. As the 3 boys sat in the middle of the living room, with their hands on the planchette, they became bored after 20 minutes of waiting. When they were just about to give up, the planchette budged. Finally, it spelled out, "Get away." "Get away? I live here," Tom said. The planchette started moving more briskly in a figure 8 motion. "This is stupid," Tom said. He looked at Josh and Chris and said, "You guys are doing this." Josh removed his hands from the planchette. "Now ask it a question that only you will know." Josh immediately asked, "Who's the person who keeps hitting me?" Tom gave Josh a nasty glare, but the planchette was already moving quickly. "Ask Tom," it answered. "D-A-D," the board spelled. "Huh?" He glanced up at Josh and they exchanged confused expressions. "D-A-D," it spelled again. Tom's breathing started to race, his face turned red, and sweat formed on his brow. D-A-D, it spelled a third time. Tom jumped up and ran from the house, crying. It was the first time Josh and Chris had ever seen or heard Tom cry. They only learned a few days later that Tom's father routinely abused him. Somehow, the Ouija board knew Tom's innermost secret. Thanks guys, please share, comment, and subscribe for more videos. And remember, never forget to lock your doors.